think we're just about to get soaked. So here we are on Karragarra Island after dinghying across and from our anchorage at Russell Island. The weather was pretty mixed. Beautiful real estate on Karragarra. Seemingly it's one of the most expensive islands. We then got the ferry over to the next island north, which was Maclay Island, before we went back to our anchorage at Russell and started sailing. Well, we actually motored north, sort of retracing our steps from where we'd been with the dinghy, going north past little islands like Lamb Island. There's channels here that have to be followed religiously, otherwise you'll get into real trouble. It's shallow, but very beautiful, and the weather had dried up by then. It had been pretty wet. This was it was pretty wet, but watching the depth and coming round the north end of Lamb and then heading for the anchorage at Maclay Island, which turned out it's Moreton Bay was what's called. A very shallow, muddy anchorage, not really good for keelboats, but it's a northerly facing anchorage, so the strong southerly wind didn't get hold of us. So there was some traffic, some cruising catamarans. There was also some racing catamarans from Moreton Bay, but we didn't stay long. We decided we'd move after a couple of days, and so I went to hank on. It's an old racing yacht, Skybird, so it's all hanked on sails, and hanking on the Genoa. And what I've got is I made some soft shackles in the winter, Dyneema soft shackles, different sizes, which are really good for quick attachments, and of course they're soft, so there's no eyes to hurt you. There is of course a metal eye on that Genoa, but it's got about a 2-ton breaking strain, these Dyneema soft shackles. They're very expensive to buy one. If you buy one, it's about $50-$60, so you can make one in half an hour if you know how. And I use a continuous sheet. I don't use 2 sheets, and the oki straps are very useful for holding the sail, and also I put netting on the bow because I frequently sail alone, so you need to support these loose sails and support yourself, of course, so you don't go over the side. The anchorage, as I say, was pretty muddy, but it had fairly good holding, and that's Peralta, this north end of Maclay. And we decided we'd go round the north end of Maclay. So a small boat like ours, a quarter tonner, you don't need windlasses. That's why it's shoestring budget boating, very simple. I could do with a bit more chain. I think I've only got like 10 meters of chain. I could do with quite a lot more, but it's such a light boat, and the advantage of non-chain is that you've got an elastic rode, so it stretched a little bit. And the sand anchor, of course, the old Danforth, that's good for mud and sand. You can see the amount of mud coming off. Always have a bucket handy, ideally at the stern. Have a bucket, get rid of the mud, and then I've always got the oki strap to hold on the halyard, and then we sail off the anchor. It's always good practice to do non-engine boat handling, because we only have a tiny outboard anyway, but it's good seamanship to practice sailing off an anchor, in case you really need to do it a lot. And we're just running with the Genoa up. That southerly wind has gone a lot lighter now, but so we're heading round to round Potts Point. That's the most northerly part of Maclay Island, and this is where the southern islands sort of stop, and north of this is the wider expanse of Moreton Bay. which can get pretty windy, and in some of these islands, you know, you can actually get breaking swells, because there's quite a big fetch, you know, the distance the waves run in parts of Moreton Bay. But yeah, it's a very tranquil spot going around the northern part here. Some very nice real estate, and nice anchorage, really nice anchorage with a dinghy landing. Well, there's a boat ramp here, and good place to run ashore and explore. Go to the Club Maclay, the bolo, probably the most scenic bolo I think in Australia. It's pretty amazing, and it's good food, friendly people. And yeah, trouble is going back, we broke the shear pin in the outboard. We hit a rock, and these smaller outboards have a shear pin. Bigger outboards don't, but these small guys, like this little Honda, which is actually air cooled, it's very noisy, but it's not a big fan. It's a bit complicated, the actual engine structure, but anyway, it does come with a, if you look under the engine cowling, there actually is a spare shear pin usually there that comes from the manufacturer, but the old one was bent into the actual shaft, so I had to get it out. And you know, you've always got to have a decent sized toolbox on the boat, so if you're really stuck, you know, you could use a nail, you know, a wooden nail, you know, for hammering in wood, but yeah, you've got to have a spare. And yeah, job done. Time to enjoy the really tranquil bay, and it's beautiful here, looking west to Cuchimudlo. Truly beautiful place.